Hello everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you the small jump animation with its variants for a skilled and unskilled horse. I started making this animation from the high jump animation, which you can see here, and I just kind of went from there. So we have different animations for high and long and small jumps, and those we can blend so that the horse will jump an appropriate height and length depending on that obstacle, and some different other parameters. So here you can see we're in Maya, which is the program we use for modeling and animation. And I've just taken the high jump animation and started to tweak that. And I could have just made a whole new animation. Honestly, it might have been faster than tweaking the old one. I don't know. But in this way, I had the base movement, which can be useful. But as you can see in the beginning, it looks just ridiculous. And you just, I just, try to ignore the legs in the beginning and just ignore everything. Just focus on the main movement of the core, like of the body of the horse, because the legs are just a result of that, So I worked a lot since I started with the high jump animation. This process was a lot about just taking everything down a notch and make it look less of an effort from the horse. Because this was supposed to be the lowest possible jump, basically. Imagine if you just jumped some Kavalri or really low jumps, that was gonna be it. And like in a big jump, it's very apparent how the body moves. Like it arches its back in the mid jump, and it compresses the back in the takeoff and the landing. And everything is just more dramatic in a big jump. I mean, if you study like horses jumping very big, you see there's a lot of effort and there's a lot of impact when the horse lands, like on its fetlocks and pasterns. There's a lot of pressure there. You can actually see those parts of the horse being very flexible and just taking a lot of weight when a horse lands. But in this small jump, it's just much less of an effort, so we had to just tone everything down a bit. It's almost like just a big canter stride. It's more flowy like that. And as always, it's important to have lots of references and of videos of horses jumping. And there's a lot of references on YouTube and just the internet in general. So if you're an animator just starting out, I would suggest you just study a lot of horses, find lots of videos. I usually take a look at some like slow-mo jumping videos that can be very good to just catch and study the movements of the horse. So once I have determined the base movement of the jump, then I start on the neck and head and the legs. And one important thing when animating horses is that the front legs need to be straight when they, basically anytime they interact with the ground and when they have weight on them. As you can see in this part of the animations, they aren't yet because I haven't gotten to the part of like adjusting that. But it's very important to keep the front leg straight and stretched when it like carries the weight of the horse on the ground. Because that's a common error that I see in horse animations, that the horse is walking or running with a bent leg, and that immediately looks wrong to someone who has been watching a lot of horses. like you guys watching this, because when you see that, you will immediately think that there's something wrong with the horse, because they don't do that. Like, of course, they rest their hind legs bent, but never the front legs. And if you see a horse walking or standing with a bent front leg, it's usually a sign that something's wrong. So that's very important. I think you can see me doing that now, or I just did maybe. Just making sure that whenever it touches the ground, the leg is straight. Then I also spend some time just making sure that the speed of the animation is right. I tend to animate it too slow, maybe because I look at so many slow motion videos. But luckily, like in Maya, it's super easy to retime it and scale it. And you can even scale different parts of the animation. Maybe the takeoff is a good timing, but the rest might be too slow, then you have to tweak that. So there's a lot of going back and forth. And you can see me now just retiming the different parts, making the beginning faster and the end slower. Another thing that's very important when animating or when doing lots of different graphical work, I guess, is to take breaks and come back, because you get really blind to your own work, and after a while you start to not see the errors. I think in this video we've like already seen this horse jump like hundreds of times, so you get really blind to it. And I almost never finish an animation in a day, because I know that the next day I will look at it with new eyes and I will see all the errors. So these videos are from 2 or 3 work sessions on different days, just so you can sort of have the chance to adjust any big mistakes that you made. And I usually try as quickly as possible, like when I've gotten to a point where I feel like this is sort of looking okay, I just grab a screen dump video of the animation and throw it up in our Slack, so I can get some feedback from the rest of the team. And I usually also post it on our Discord, so I can get feedback from the community there, because our patrons and beta testers are all, you know, crazy horse ladies. They've been watching horses a lot, so they can usually very quickly see if there's something wrong with the animation. So that's very valuable feedback to get, you know, as early in the process as possible. And then a little later, further down the line, we post it on Instagram as well. And that's also a very good way of getting lots of responses from everyone. And I also had the chance of just going back and updating it, because like nothing is ever finished, right? We post things on Instagram, but then you come back a while later and you just tweak stuff. So you always had the chance to update it and make it better. And I think I've updated all the animations in the game at least once, but I will probably need at least one more go at pretty much all of them until I feel comfortable like having them for a released game. However, pursuing perfection can be very like crippling. It's not a good thing to strive for, I think, because like we just don't have the time. I mean, I could easily spend weeks on each animation, but we just don't have the time, you know. We need to move on and do our other tasks. So at some point you just have to like leave it and say it's good for now, and get on with the other things that you gotta do. And this is also good because like you don't spend too much time on it. You can just rest your eyes and come back at it later and fix the apparent things that need to be fixed. So I'm a big fan of just like do enough, don't overdo it. Like, yeah, we just gotta do what's the most bang for the buck, you know. And personally, I will probably always feel like, oh, I could have made this a bit better. I could have, if I just, you know, if I just spent some more time on it, it might have been perfect. But like, then they will never be finished. So it's important to remember that like it doesn't, like, the world won't end if this animation isn't perfect. And yeah, I think there's an important balance to be found there. So if you want to see the full video, there's an extended version on our Patreon available for the patrons that support us. So I hope you enjoyed this little video of the jump. I really enjoy going into some more depth and talking about these things. So if that's something that you enjoy, just let me know and I will certainly do more. And here's the finished result, the unskilled going to a skilled jump. Hope you enjoyed this video, so see you in the next one.